Hello everybody, Strategic Sage here. It's time for another patch update for AI War 2. It's been over a month since the last one. There hadn't been that much going on, but now there's been quite a bit over the last few days. Version 2047, this is 2048 with some bug fixes, is known as Perks by Another Mother. And that's a reference to the key feature of this patch, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that happened sort of as a result, balancing around it for the most part. Wanted to do a little bit of information, though, on the upcoming plan for AI War 2 development first. The multiplayer update and the second DLC, Zenith Onslaught, have been pushed back a little bit. They're estimated around August. And there's some information that's kind of not great out there right now. They're not doing the Zenith Onslaught instead of multiplayer or anything like that. There's two separate people working on it. Chris is doing multiplayer, Badger's doing the second expansion. And so one of them finishing before the other is not holding up the second one. This is one of my former games, and we're looking at the fleet that had a regenerator golem in it. A couple things to notice here, but the main part is that these are now all upgraded through science, because experience has been totally eliminated. It's not a thing anymore. That's what the reference is to the perk system, which was eventually going to use experience to give you better types of abilities with your flagships, and all that's gone. Basically, there was no way to do it that wasn't going to be super grindy. A lot of people weren't enjoying the experience system the way it was, so this is the direction they went. And now you just directly upgrade these just like you would, for example, your battle station, your citadels, etc. You can do it with support fleets, so you just bump up everything by a level only. It's only the flagship, not the parts of its fleet. And then in here, the fleet ship tooltips, you can also see at the bottom, it tells you which upgrades you've gotten, so that well, you know which ones you'd upgrade more. Like these concussions corvettes, I would need one more in weapons in order to max them out. Now, there's a lot of things that have happened as a result of this. One is there's been a big rebalancing of science. Remember a while back I did a video on ships and science and the strategy around those. A lot of that's different now. The basics are still there, but the tweaking of which things are worth it, which things aren't. There's been significant changes to how much the different science level ups cost. So really pay attention to that in your games as we go forward. You can see all the empty slots here. The flagships now have virtually unlimited, 40 ship lines you can fit in them. Because the main reason they were limited to 5 before was to prevent fleet balling by giving you an incentive to keep only a certain amount around, hence the experience issue. With experience gone, that's not there anymore, and just restricting it was just basically something they felt was just annoying people without a good reason. So to prevent fleet balling, they're not really trying to totally prevent it anymore, but they're trying to give you incentives like there was a bug fixed in the fire team so that the hunter, etc., are going to be more effective at attacking multiple targets at once, which was always the intent with that. And so they're trying to put strategic things in the game to encourage you away from fleet balling in some situations, but recognizing that it's not something that's going to be prevented. When you do the swapping of ship lines, if they're on the same planet, they don't get destroyed anymore. You don't have to rebuild them. So there's more freedom in moving them around there as well. The cloaked transports and also the new agile ones, which are faster types of fleet transports, can spawn with fleets in the galaxy. It's not just an option to get the cloaked one at the start of the game. You can get them during the process of the game now. And again, with the perk system going away, there wasn't going to be any other way to access that, so that's one of the reasons why that decision was made. And there is a new capturable in the galaxy called the Fleet Research Station. It's similar to the Advanced Research Station, only it's much more powerful. You pay a bunch of AI progress to get ships that will bonus the entire fleet. And with the fleets as big as they are, that could be basically your entire fighting force. So essentially, you're trading AI progress for a force multiplier. Low AIP players, probably not going to use them, but for higher AIP players, it's going to be a really big bonus. On the other hand, stuff like the Raiders, their speed bonus to the entire fleet, that doesn't exist anymore. So you really have to go to these new FRSs, which are all pretty much going to spawn a long ways away from your homeworld. Won't be able to get to them till fairly late game. but they will provide that ability to boost your forces across the board. Over here on the left, a couple of things. One, in the text slots, if you get something marked up all the way, it would normally just disappear, but now they're staying over here marked as complete. Like that change. And then they've put in the support needed for journals. There's nothing in here, but you can see journals are a possibility now going forward. So that's over here in the tabs, and the tabs have been somewhat rearranged. Then there's a few other things. The Parasite fleet's been knocked down, as I've mentioned previously. You only get 2 muggers instead of 4 when you start off with that. In Spire games, if the AI has too few planets left, if you've conquered almost all the galaxy, it will simply stop spawning relic trains instead of just spawning them and having them immediately be at the homeworld. And there's some new setting options. You can disable tachyon, tractor, or beam visuals. If you go personal settings, performance, that's where all that stuff is now. And then also you can do this view edit faction thing, which is really cool. This is something that people have wanted to ask about for a while, but say we want to change the various AIs, like if I want to change the colors in this game, or you want to open something versus a beacon. Those options are in here. Like if, let's say you were doing human resistance fighters via beacon, or you were doing nanocost via beacon, or whatever, you could actually click on this and adjust. It's not showing it as adjustable in here because these were not beacon factions, but you'd be able to adjust the strength of them and what their allegiance is and their color and all that. So you can activate a beacon faction and still customize their strength. So that's a big control element. And then you could also adjust the colors for the Outguard, anti-player zombie, etc. So you can just go in here and make those. They're also testing out a feature under debug where if you have Astro Trains on and you set the power increase setting to on, they will get stronger after the player has killed a certain amount of them. And that's meant to see whether that might be a good idea to make a permanent change to the Astro Trains so that you can't just constantly farm them. Also, for some of the Galaxy types, they were having trouble generating when there was a really small amount of planets, so they bumped up the minimum amount of planets that you can use on stuff like, the bubbles and linked rings, and map types like that tended to run into that problem. People would, if you had a really small amount of planets, you could get to a point where the AI homeworlds couldn't generate and you'd automatically win, or something crazy like that. So that is Perks by Another Mother. And definitely the new ways of upgrading golems, the science rebalance, the fact that experience is no longer in, and the new FRS late game options. There's a lot of new things that are really going to throw some wrinkles in. It's going to take a while to figure out how all that's going to set strategically. As always, I'll be back with more when patch updates make it appropriate. But until then, thanks for watching, everybody. See you around.